Okay, I got a little cold, so I put a sweater on, and let's go ahead and take a look at our doing this on the phone. Let's get this whole thing connected so that we can find the forecast for tomorrow and the sunrise, etc. So let's do that. So, okay, that is not the correct screen. Let's figure out what's going on there. And we're back. All right. So let us. Oh, there goes my phone. I'm able to share my phone um, using a Mac tool. So we're going to do that with the U-Vault website. And just to make sure that we're talking about the same thing, we're going to go to home.uvault.edu slash, remember I did the whole hold'em thing, that one. And I say yes, allow, and there we go. Okay, so let's make sure this happens now with our code, right? Like we wanna make this weather pop up. I'm gonna just do some magic. I'm gonna have this weather actually be things like well, I was gonna do some other stuff, but you know what? I'm just gonna leave it as is, and we'll make this work. So this, of course, will be almost the same, except for I was doing this through Bloomsburg, right? So let's change it to us. All right. So how am I gonna do this? Well, we're gonna use our code. We're gonna use our code that we have for lat long, which is this idea of if navigator. So I'm gonna copy this whole thing just for fun. I'm gonna go to weather.js. And what I'm going to do is I am going to put it here. Now, I'm not going to put in any type of checks, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So let's set some more global variables. Let user lat equal 0. Let user long equal 0. So what I'm doing now is just, initializing the variables. And instead of setting a lat and long, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to just say user lat equals so and so. And I'll do user long equals that. All right, now what happens? Error getting location. What should we set these to? Probably the best way to do it is just set it to some default, such as the beautiful Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania. And we don't need any of this stuff right here. That is basically saying, like, if it works, we can do else. I can do an alert. Alert what? GPS not supported. All right, so we can save that. Now, this is where latitude and longitude is. So I'm going to change it from fetching that to, we're going to do our tick mark thing that we do. Tick, tick, boom. Tick, okay. And instead of being latitude, we will do, because it's a string, we'll do that thing we do where we do $, curly bracket. This is user lat. Oh my gosh. You know what I was trying to remember? Okay, so this is copy. I copy this. In case there's a mistake or it doesn't work, we're just going to set it to that. And in case it doesn't work, we'll set it. So we're going to set it to downtown Bloomsburg. If you don't know where it is, it's the middle of nowhere. But if you've ever heard of Yingling Beer, it is near its factory. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change this to be the variable. So $ curly bracket. And it is user lat end curly bracket. And then for longitude, we do $ bracket user long. Curly bracket. Okay. Now, if this works correctly, we should be able to get the data on the phone in the weather tool. So let's give that a try. I have to move the files first. Can't forget that. Okay. Now let's open the phone. All right, let's try weather. Is that all I can do? Is there no way to view, zoom in? Oh, that's as large as it goes. Okay. Here we go. So we type it into our phone as weather.html. Survey says that sunrise will be at 1:56 a.m., sunset at 2 p.m. The high temperature will be 82 degrees Fahrenheit. This is clearly not the correct data. So let's go ahead and find out where it thinks we are. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this whole string. Let's cut that, and we'll set a new variable called let URL equal. I'm going to put the URL. And what URL we call? The URL. All right. And then what I want to do is console.log what the URL. Now, what's going to be interesting about this, of course, is that I have navigation services turned off on my local browser. But let's give this a try. Let's see what happens. You know what we can do? We can alert. User lat plus quote comma plus user long. Okay, so this should pop up something that gives us the numbers. Rewind. Oh, I have to move it every time. It did not alert. How about a console? Okay. Let's see what's going on here. So what I am going to do is just for fun on the weather HTML page at the very bottom, I'm going to say P, I should say div ID equals URL so that I can just output it to that tag here, and I will say, oh, this is junk. Let's say document.get element by ID URL dot inner HTML equals your. Okay. Let's move our files over. Let's go up here. Let's refresh. Can't see the bottom. Okay. Latitude is 0 and longitude is 0. Oh, okay. So it was giving me somewhere not close to here. Why did that not work? It's telling me 0 and 0. Because up here I have these. How if I just do this? Upload it. Refresh. They're set to undefined. Okay, so in this example, they're not picking it up on my phone. Let's find out why. Okay, so when I actually loaded it just in my browser, this happens a lot when you're doing mobile development. You have to get the messages. What I learned was that the string did not match the expected pattern. So what that's telling me is that the function, the promise, is the fetch. So my fetch code isn't correct. So let's fix that. Yeah, so just like I think, this is we're having a problem with scope. So what's happening, if like just like the objects that we had, where things exist in the scope, is that somehow this code is not being recognized here, or I should say this and this isn't being recognized for this one. Like this one is existing within this what they call anonymous function. That's what we talked about earlier in the semester. So let's go ahead and fix that so that it actually works correctly. Okay, and so it seems like a lot of this is not just scope, but also time. So there's another dimension with this. Like Back to the Future, you got to think fourth dimensionally. We can't have this exist because this hasn't happened yet, and this takes some time to get from the computer. So what we have to do is we have to build all of this information into this function right here. So let's go ahead and figure out how we can do that so that our code just makes a lot more sense for us. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of this code. This is killing me. But we're going to take all of this code and we're going to put it here. Because if it's successful, it will do this. I'm also going to put it here into the unsuccessful point. Let's update our code. Let's connect it. Let's refresh. Ah, there we go. That pop-up was an empty pop-up. Again, it was an alert, and the alert was the URL, but the URL doesn't really exist because of the whole tempo. It doesn't work in time. So, yeah, wow. I, of course, can't fake where I am, but this is not too far off of... Let's actually change this line. We can delete that. Okay. So what is happening in this then is one of the weird things about APIs, because when you call out to something, the system has to wait before it can update and do something else. So that is really interesting. All right, but yeah, it does look like it's working. And for those of you that are somewhere else in the country and you follow along with this code, um, I'm curious to see how that will work as well. Looks like it's going to, though. So let's put this all together now with our API. Let's use, let's pull some data. Let's put some weather forecasts up there and go from there.